Welcome, Francesca, to this live build with Zenler. So, as a competition winner, you've got me for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and we're going to look at anything that you've problems with your site at all, or anything you want me to look at within the site. So, Francesca, do you want to give me a little bit of an overview of what you do and what you're trying to achieve on Zenler itself?
Sure. Thank you so much. Great to meet you, David. I'm so grateful to have been the winner. And so, yeah, I'm Francesca. I am based in the UK and I am a leadership coach and I provide a range of different services, but really help people to develop personally, professionally, and as well as with their public speaking. And so I deliver one-to-one and group coaching. And 2020, I built my first online program using the Zenler, and that is it's called the 10-step game plan. And so it was really an introductory program to help people who struggle with public speaking, especially when it's to a camera. So that's where we started. So what I'm trying to move more into is to really build a community and to transition one of my group mentoring programs into like an package of online delivery.
Brilliant. So I don't know if you saw this morning, but we've released a brand new feature. We've got paid lives. So for your one-to-one coaching, things like that, we're trying to get the system to play better with you, especially if you've got things like courses. So I don't know if you saw the office hours that we did, but we just released a major update, which is actually being able to put lives directly into your courses. So you're now able to set up your lives and you're able to drop them into a course, into the curriculum of your course. So people can just click on it and they can just go straight into the live when it starts. So from an administration point of view, and for having multiple, maybe more multiple courses, multiple, because you have, if you're a pro and premium member, you have like 3 or 10 sites, you could actually set up lots of lives going on within those and just jump between them. So this is all going towards what you're trying to do, Francesca. So it's really exciting times for you in
Yeah.
particular because it's what you're trying to achieve. So did you see the new feature?
I saw it flash up and I had a glance at it. Yes, so I'm aware of the new feature, which is brilliant. So I guess it's always the learning how to really make it work for myself or the programs. But yeah, it
Yeah,
looks
and
good.
I'm going to run a live. I'm going to do some live workshops, and there's going to be some YouTube videos go up on exactly how we can use that feature and what
Sure.
happens. Because a lot of the time it is like we have these new features and they're easy to set up, but you don't know what the user experience is for the student.
Mm,
So we're going to try and do that as well. And like I said, it's all towards that side of live things. Is all towards therapists, dog trainers, consulting, all this sort of stuff is what you need to run it. So that's what we're going to do, but we're going to look at your site today. So I had a quick look at your site, and I know you
mhm.
mentioned you've got multiple sites. So have you got more? You've got more than one site. But you were looking at one that you just started at the moment today. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, that is correct. So I've got one site that's live and has been since 2020. So I've kind of swapped my membership. I was, I think, a pro. I'm not sure what the right term is, and then I downgraded because I just wasn't sure how to best utilize it. So yeah, I've got one in draft that I haven't done much with. It's just pretty much, I think, just a title.
Right, so
Done.
we're working
Yeah.
with a free site at the moment, but this happens quite a bit actually. People buy
Mhm.
into the platform and then they're kind of like, oh, well, I'm not really using it because I haven't done anything towards that because maybe I'm busy doing something else. That's common. Or you've got a WordPress site and you've been using that and that's how you've been running it. And then people see all these new features come in and they go, right, now's the right time to jump on board.
Sure.
So that's what's happened with you, is it?
Yeah, partly, but I think for me, like being able to automate things is just really where I want to be heading, especially as I'm trying to scale my business. And so I guess it's, yeah, just that commitment to learn the features better so that they, because obviously they're there, and I know people have had amazing successes. If I look at some other people's sites, and it's just incredible what they've built and just how professional it looks. So it's just having that as a bit of an aspiration to get there as well.
Yeah, yeah, good. Yeah, and it is a learning thing. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. You're using terminology like funnels. We got these live class, live webinars, stream. And I've got to automate this. I've got to automate that. Where do I automate this? What happens? And it can be like overwhelm.
Yeah.
breaking it all down, it's just automations are featured with all parts of the Zenler platform, and they can all be set up individually. And it's as
Okay.
easy as just saying, right, when someone enrolls, an email goes out to them by a time or when they've enrolled date, and that goes out to them. And if I want to follow up with one 3 days later, I can create a new one. And that's how simple it is. But
Okay.
that sounds simple, but when you look at the system, you go, "Oh God, it's a bit too much."
Yeah, yeah, because that does sound really simple, and that'd be ideal because that's not always happening at the moment, So
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we have your site up. So Fran's given me access to admin side of things. I've seen there is a few users in there. With any live build, I don't show any of the users inside the site. Now, because this is being pre-recorded, if we do show them, they'll be blurred. Okay, so for your benefit, when I'm running live streaming, I have to be very, very careful, especially if it's
sure.
sensitive subject sites, because it's illegal for one thing for showing those sort of
Mm.
things. So, and user error can come into it, so I have to be really careful that I do not show any email addresses inside the site at all. But this is a nice new site to start with. We do have some emails in there, but like I said, I'm not showing those. So this is your site at the moment. So what are we going to do today, Francesca? What is your goal to achieve?
Yeah, so I think the 10-step game plan. I think it's revamping how that looks maybe, and because at the moment it's permanently on sale. So maybe kind of take that out and just make it $27. I think that would be ideal. So to yeah.
Right. So we got this. See, I've looked at one of your other sites, and this is the first time I've really looked at this site. And
Okay.
one thing I can say straight away is you really got it as far as designing the way it looks. It looks really good. It's really
Thank
impressive. Did you
you.
do all this yourself as well, Francesca?
Yeah, I did. I mean, my business coach was amazing and she really helped me to understand how to do it. But yeah, I did take quite a long time to try and to build it.
Yeah, I love
Um,
this. And the other thing I love about it is it's just so branded. There's happy images, fantastic images of you in here, and you're ticking all of the boxes. So from a design point of view, I don't think I really need to help you. You've
okay.
already you've already got it sussed, which is quite rare. Especially as you're new to the platform and you're saying,
Yeah.
oh, I've got problems with this, but actually looks really good to me and really powerful as well. I think it tells you exactly what you're selling straight away. I love this bit at the top. And I'm probably going to nick some of your design bits to throw
You're
into.
very welcome to. Sharing, I believe sharing is caring, right? That's what we do. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's not stealing, is it?
There you go.
Yeah, so this is really good. So you're looking to you were talking about automation earlier, and I know you were talking about also you sent me an email and you said about a form, and you want to know how to capture people or do those things in the site. So what are we looking
Yes.
at?
It's something as simple as being able to almost capture inquiries
Okay,
because yeah. So the plan for that is to put people into a Facebook group. Um,
right.
but I'd
Okay.
like them to sign up to enroll and to pay and get a set of emails from New Zenler, which I know I believe it can do. Right, this is sometimes I feel like I'm not entirely sure exactly how much
Yeah, and
it
the
does or
and the
does
sort
not.
of what we're talking about. So what we're really talking about is a sign up form kind
Yes,
of thing. All right. So
yeah,
we're okay. So Francesca she's got a great course. Obviously, Francesca, you know how to change the pricing, that sort of thing. So
yeah,
one key thing that people want is that they might not have started another course, but they want to start capturing leads and capturing leads in that course so that when they actually launch their course, then they can actually just send an email broadcast to those people saying it's ready, come into here and buy it now, and then you can just send them to your sales page. So we're going to create a form. I'm going to show Francesca exactly. You can design it, but I'm going to show you exactly how the forms work. So then it will be clear as to how you can actually set up your own block. And I'm running a live mentorship on Sundays, and I've actually done this with a site already. So I'm going to show the site that I'm running in the in the mentorship program, and then it's going to be clear as to what we're trying to achieve with this. And we can talk a little bit about the automation side as well. So I'm going to share my screen. This is a site I'm doing for a good dog. It's a training site, a dog training site. So just a dummy site. It's not my business or anything. But down here, and this is the most important thing, is we have a capture forms. So we have capture forms to get people to sign up for, in this case, the launch. Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that this form block has been applied to all of the training areas. These are just pages, by the way. These are not courses. These are pages. We haven't released the course yet. So you're going to notice that down the bottom we have a similar block, and really the only thing that's changing here is the background color, but the block is exactly the same. So this form, what this form can do is it can do multiple things. One is it captures the name and the email, but when they hit the sign up for launch, what it will also do is it can tag them. So you can tag them, say, call this toilet training for dogs. I could put a tag in for that. I could also send them into an email list as well. So there's two ways. Tagging's kind of the modern way of doing things. So it's like, people don't kind of put people in lists, but we've allowed you the ability to put people in lists and also to tag them. So that can be really handy for that. So that's what you're trying to do. Now, also by getting people to sign up, not only that, you can also put them into a marketing funnel as well. Now, Francesca, if you get stuck and confused by anything that I'm saying, then make sure that you tell me.
Okay. So you just said that. So when you say tag, so have you got 3 different tags set up for those 3 different pages?
I haven't with this, but I could have.
Oh, okay. So the tag is purely the fact they've signed up for the launch.
Yeah, but the tag you don't have to have a tag. You can have whatever tag you like. You could use the same tag on the same form block. So it could be used. It's up to you how you, when we actually create it, I think it will be really clear. So
yeah.
You know, I think it's easier to actually just show you actually a page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up, this is not going to affect your site. I'm just going to set it on. This is what I like to do to test. So you've got all your pages published there, and I know you're still designing this site, but what I like to do is just add a new page, and then inside that I can call it something like template, and we can just use this page to play around with things, you know, and test things out. So if I create this little page, then we can put that in there, and I'm going to have a blank page. I'm not going to publish the page, so it's not published. So I'm going to click add, and now it's going to set up your default header and footer. So we're creating a blank page with just the header and the footer inside the page. So now I'm going to create the form itself inside here, which is really easy to do. And when I create it, when I actually go to the gear icon and the submit icon, then it's all going to be clear to what's going on. So I have a blank row in here, but you could, if you wanted to, you could delete this out. Doesn't matter. I'm going to put a new one in. I'm going to build this from scratch. There are some contact forms down here, pre-existing designs that you can use, but I like to build everything from scratch. So I'm going to go to empty block, drag that into here, and we can then start putting elements. So for instance, let's go in and drop a row in here. You always start with a blue block, and then you drop a row green block inside it. So the first one I'm going to put in here is a heading. Okay, so for that heading, I'm going to call this, what should we call it? Sign up for the latest course, something like that. But you can call it whatever you like. Then you can put a little heading 2 in here. And now the important bit. So a new element, and I'm going to drop a form in here. So this is where the fun begins. So I've got this form here. There's lots of other boxes we can check in there, but we don't need to look at those. We're just going to drop a simple form in. So our simple form has got your name and your email. So you can change what is in these the most important thing about a form block is this little purple thing going around the outside. Now this is what contains the form. So if I was to grab this and pull it outside of this purple block, then it wouldn't work. You've got to make sure everything is in the form. So your fields are in there and your submit button, which is the most important thing. So to change the text in here, like enter your name, you can hit the little gear icon and then go over to settings, and you could make this a required field. Usually for email you would have it as a required field, so they have to fill it in before they go on. So you could put something in there if you wanted to, like full name, something like that, and that would be that field. So let's go to email now, and email is really important, so I always recommend that you have this as a required field, and then you can put please enter your email. So you can customize the way that all looks. Now that is the form done, but we can add additional fields. So if I was to come here and I was to clone this, it's going to give me another box, but it's still inside the big purple box. So what I can do now is I could take two names. So inside here you're going to notice input type, it says first name. So that is the first name. So I'm going to put in here first, if my spelling's right, first name, and it ties up with first name. Okay, so let's just go to this one now, and this is going to be last name. So these are the fields that you can put in. So let me just put last name or surname, and in here input type we're going to go down to last name. So you can see we could set up additional fields by cloning, and then we could select where it's going. So if for instance we wanted to take email, email's there, first name, last name, we could have address. So if you want to capture their address details, including the city, state, zip code or postcode for us because we're in the UK, phone, you can also set a custom type as well. So you might want to put in there something else, what is your age or something, those kind of things. So you have these, you can add these and change them over, but you need to make sure they're tied up. So last name ties up with last name there. And then that brings us on to the last part, which is the most important part in a way, which is the settings for the submit button. So if I click the little settings tab here, you can change all the text. You know, you could go in here and change the color of this box. You could choose a new design for this box down here using design. So if I make it a rounded one, you're going to get a rounded one. And if I then go back to this, it does close. It kind of annoys me. If we go back,
I once heard, can I ask quickly? I once heard someone say that there's a lot of psychology around even the colours of buttons, and is it that like red's a more powerful colour to use, and people may be more likely to press it? Or I mean, what's your views on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you've done that in your 10-step game plan. You know, you've made it a red colour because it's of importance, so it captures you. Overuse of red is subconsciously is very kind of scary for people. That's why, but it's used a lot. If you look at some of the Renaissance artists, what they'll do is their pictures will be quite dark, but in some area of the painting they'll put a little blob of red paint, and that the reason they do that is so that when you look at that painting, your eye straight away goes to that red part of the painting, and then it works out from it. So powerful colours are really powerful. Obviously, like greens, blues, very calming, and that's why they're used a lot. That's why this combination of the red or blue or white is used a lot inside of websites. Green as well, more nature. I think it's got to be like business. You can go more sort of metal, grey, these kind of colours. And I think you've got it right with yours. With you've got the blues in there, but it's push back blue, so it looks a little bit more business orientated. And then you've also got the red, but it's not a bright red. It's kind of a shaded down red, so it kind of takes the edge off a little bit. I think it does make a big difference, definitely. And you've got it in yours anyway. So with this button down here, we've got the option to make this full width or normal. So if I make it normal, it's going to come in like that. and we can, obviously with all things Zenler, we can change things like the padding around the button as well. And I always like to bring this down. I think 15 is a bit too much for the padding around top and bottom. So that's that. But that's the design of the button. But what can we do with the settings? Well, the settings is probably the most important part of any form, because we have the text in here, which is going to say something like sign up today, and then a big kind of like there, so that's nice. And then we have down here subtext, so you can put a little line underneath. I don't tend to use this, to be honest, but you can. Under here we've got action. Now if you've got the action, because this is a button, so a button can just go to a link, and it can open a pop-up, so it could open a pop-up form, but submit form is the submission of form data. So this is the most important thing that you need to make sure. So you've got action, submit form. It's going to submit that form that's inside that purple box. So below that, this is where we have the options to do lots of things. So we can add them to an email list. So if I go in there, I can see you've got no email list. So we can't add them to that. So I'm going to show you how to set up an email list in a second. Also, we have funnels. So if you had it, I see you've got a funnel there, your 10-step game plan. So if I checked that, okay, what would happen now is they would be automatically signed up for your funnel that you set up.
Okay.
So the automations that you've got in that funnel would fire off to them.
Oh, okay.
So you've got a capture form on the funnel itself, but you can also send people to a funnel from a sign up form on any page or wherever you've put this form. So that could be really handy. That's quite powerful.
Yeah. So in very simple terms, that means then they're gonna, as soon as they sign up, if the funnel says send them an email within an hour, they're gonna then receive that information. Yeah, and all of that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Spot on. So you can send them up, you can set them up for a for a funnel there, which is really good. So you've got the capture form in the funnel itself, plus you could create forms within your site, anywhere within your site, and you could send them straight to the funnel that way. So funnels are really powerful. And the last bit is the tag. So the tag is where I said to you, you can tag people coming in. So if they're on this particular form, if you want, maybe I want to put more info on, let's call it, do the same 10 step. So, I could put something like that. Then I hit enter on the keyboard, and now it will have tagged them. Sometimes it sets up this little extra thing, which I get rid of. But now what's going to happen with this form is that if I fill this form out, I'm going to be tagged in there as a lead, not as a student. And they're going to be ready for later. When you launch the course, you could then send emails directly to them.
That's great. That's really good. I like that.
So it's really easy to work with, but it's just working with it. Then down here we have the last thing, and it says post submit action. So what post submit action does is it can send them, after they've clicked the button, what happens next. Now by default we have a little green thing that comes up that says success.
Okay.
So, but I might have a thank you page set up. So if I've created a thank you page, just create a page, put in there, thank you for filling out the form, or thank you for signing up, then you can send them to that link. So I've done the same on the dog training. If I come down here and I enter something like, let's just put myself in as test, and then enter an email address in here. So you'll see what happens if I do this. Let's put something like that. And if I click sign up for launch, I've got a thank you page. So as soon as I click that, I'm entered in the system, and then I go to a thank you page.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is post submit action. So that's what post submit action does. Now if I don't put anything in there, it'll just come up with a little green mark. So I'm going to click save to that, and then we're going to test the form out, and you're going to see that it will go into your leads. So again, you can SEO this page as well.
Yeah.
And let's test it out. One thing I do need to do is I need to make the page public for a few seconds. So I'm going to just go in here. I'm going to make it public, publish the page. It's not going to be seen anywhere. It's going to be too quick. I'm going to take this and I'm going to test it out. And you're going to see it come in as your leads. So I'm going to click leads here. You've got no leads in here at the moment. You have got people in there, and I'm showing that.
Yeah.
So if I go into incognito now, so if you're using a Chrome browser, go up top there, incognito, and this is then doesn't capture, I'm not logged in. You see I'm signing in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so this is why we do it. We test this because you're not logged in. You get a different experience if you're logged in.
Yeah.
So let's go and put here, test, and I'll just use my one in there. Let's call it Smith, and then John in there. Okay, and then I'll just put that email. So now I'm hitting sign up today. So down here it says success. So if I had a thank you page, I would send them to the thank you page. But as I haven't set that up, it's just going to say success. So let's have a look in the system now. What's happened? So if I go in here and I refresh this page, there we go, and I've got a tag.
So you can see where they're coming from if you've got different tags in different places.
Precisely, or you set up an email list. So you haven't got any email list set up. So we're going to quickly set up an email list now, and then I can add that to the form. So I can come back later and add this stuff, and it's really easy.
Interestingly, so for the setup game plan, it was suggested that I could, what's the word? I guess integrate an external. Sorry, yeah, I don't know what the word is. Like email provider to do a list. So, but that doesn't necessarily work for me. So can I keep everything in New Zenler? So if I have an email list, then I can just use it from there.
Yeah, you can. I mean, if you're using something like maybe ActiveCampaign, or using Mooseend, or you're using MailerLite, or you're using MailChimp, you might have lists already in those systems, and a lot of people do, and then they might want to just use Zenler. So what you can do is, like, if you've got a MailChimp account, you've got a big list of people in there, you can export them all out, and you can import them all into Zenler, and then use Zenler's system. Now, if you're still want to use your existing system like MailChimp, you can activate the integration for MailChimp, and when a new user comes into your platform, they'll then get listed on your MailChimp account. So you could then use your MailChimp account if you wanted to. But you could just use Zenler. I do. I've used all of the mailing programs pretty much, and now for my my sites, I just use Zenler. I just use it all inside Zenler.
So interesting. Yeah. Now my brain is doing all sorts because I recently set up. Well, I'm in the process still of just completing a sign up just for like a newsletter. So a sign up form from my website going to MailChimp. Actually, that's what I'm using for that.
Right.
But it would have been great to think how almost those three could work together potentially.
Yeah, they can work together, but also they don't have to. You don't have to use any of them. Like, our goal here is to replace all of the other apps or subscriptions that you might need, like Zoom, MailChimp, all ClickFunnels. Our goal is to get rid of those. You pay for the system, and then you don't have to pay for all these different things. Now, don't get me wrong. Things like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, all of these, they do have more advanced features in them. Yeah. So in some cases, lots of seasoned professional teachers, consultants like you, might want to use those because you're using specific things within those programs. But a lot of users don't need any of that. And they just want to know where people are coming from in the forms. They just want to put them into a list. They just want to send out a simple email broadcast to them, like, weekly or something. And in which case they can just use the system. So depending on what you need to achieve, some of it might not be possible in Zenler, but if it's all possible in Zenler, then just do it in Zenler.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that actually, because like I said, I'm in the process of automating other parts of the business, and yeah, that can definitely work. So
yeah, and you have full automation within the system itself, even with leads coming in. You can use funnels to automate the way things are coming in, which I'll show you in a minute. First thing is, I'm going to show you about an email list. So creating an email list, really easy. Just want to show you all the options. You might not use them all, but if you know about them, it's good. So if we go into email broadcast, you're going to see over here email list. So email list, email broadcasts of sending out newsletters. We often do it as Zenler. We're bringing out a new boot camp or a new challenge, and we'll send emails to all of the people on our site. So they come through. So that's just like a one-off thing that you're sending to people, or you're sending out a weekly or bi-weekly newsletter update. So you can use email broadcast to do that. So inside email broadcast is where our email list is. So if we click email list, you can easily create a list. So if I was going in here, what should we call this list, Francesca?
Make it happen.
Let's call it make it happen. Okay. Yeah. So that is that, and we're going to click create. Okay. So there we go. We have our list in there. Make it happen. If I go back to email list, you can see it's there. So you can add multiple lists. And now, because I've done that, I can add that to the form. So I'm going to go back to my users, or the user that I put in there, so that I can repeat this process so I can show you. So I'm going to go back into leads, and where I just set this one up, I'm going to delete myself out. And that means I can just retest it. So let's go back into this form again, and let's add myself to the email list. So I'm going to reload this page because it's open. So I need to reload it because it doesn't know that I've set up an email list. So I'm just refreshing this page for the editor, and I'll have that option now where we didn't have the option before, but we'll have the option of email list and then make it happen. So I can select that one. So it will appear in there automatically. So let's go in here. Check this, come over to settings, email list, click it, there it is.
Okay.
There we go. So I've checked that in there. So I've got make it happen. Now I could change this tag for this form at any stage. I could delete it out. So I've finished with that particular promotion for that form and I'm running a new one. I could put a new tag in there and delete the old one. So any new people coming in would be tagged with something different. And I could leave it off completely and just use the email list. So I'm going to save that now. I'm going to get rid of the tag completely, and they're going to be added to that email list. So I've done that now. So once again, I'm going to go into our site pages, and I'm going to go to that page in incognito. And we're going to fill it out again. You're going to see that I will appear in that list. So let's go and do this again. And put in here just that, and now I'm going to click sign up. Got the success here. Now let's go into the site. Let's go into email broadcasts. Let's go to our email list, and now there we go, one member. So if I click inside here, I've got that member, so they're in that email list. So I've captured them, so more people would appear in here. So later on I might decide to send out an email broadcast, and I can just target people in that list. So if I create a quick dummy email broadcast, going there, and I go email list, and I go make it happen, and one person is in that list.
Sure.
So that's all I'm sending out to. And you can also use filtering to tag certain people in there as well. So that's how that works. So that's how we can set an email list up, and that's how we can send an email out to those users.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think I'm understanding now even how it could be used, for example, where, I run certain programs at certain times of the year. And at the moment, if someone's not wanting, or it's not available, well, then I don't know that they still may want it for like in 6 months' time. Whereas actually, if I set this up in a particular way for specific things, in 3 months' time, I'm going to have built a bigger list for those for when the course is ready. So that's really great, really helpful.
So imagine that, like if we use that as a basis. Say you're capturing people, and let's forget email lists. Let's just use tags to do that. So in there, you could have people that they're interested in course A. So you put a tag in there, course A, and then also you put another tag. And you're doing your promotion in May. Let's put another tag in there and call it May. So after May's finished and you go into June, you go back into the form, delete out May and add June. So
Okay.
then in the system, you can filter people via course A. You can also filter them by the month they joined. So you could then filter them by May and have those
Sure.
people come up. And then you could also have June as well. So you can really pin down where you want to go with tagging. And a lot of people don't understand it, and they have these big lists and they like, when did that person come into the site, when did they take that, or when did they
Yeah.
do this? And if you tag them, it's really easy for you to find where those people are and really target down. So you could use lists and you could use tags. You could have
Yeah,
them
I love
coming
that.
into it. Yeah, so imagine
Yeah, it's a
that.
really good feature. Yeah.
Yeah, so instead of putting a tag for course A, let's set up an email list and call it course A. But let's also tag them with the month, so May. And then
Sure.
when May finishes, just put a tag in there of June. And they're all going into the email list, which is course A. And then you can still filter them on May or June or July or whatever they're coming in there. So from a management point of view, it means that you just need to go in there if you want to once a month, delete that tag out, put a new one in, and you might do
Yeah.
that every 3 months or something, just to look after your site.
Brilliant. That's really good.
Yeah.
Already my brain's like, yeah, we could do this, we could do that.
I know. Well, that's another thing as well. That's the key thing. What I say to people is, how do you see it working? How do you see people coming into your site? What are you trying to do with those people? How later on? How do you want to later on be able to filter those people by something? Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be month. It could be something else. And if you can think of that, if you can write it down on a piece of paper, it makes it a lot easier for you to find a plan that will work for your
Yeah.
site. Because you can
Yeah.
see there's millions of ways to do this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really funny because I mean I use Linktree at the moment on for my social media, and it gets a lot of clicks, but what I'm realizing is maybe for some people what they want either isn't available at that point or they're not ready for it, but it'll be still nice to be able to capture their information and just sort of keep in touch with them. So yeah, that it's going to work really well.
Yeah, so you create a nice sales page. Remember, because your site does have a header and a footer in it, but you don't have. You could just have a standalone form page that you send people to. Via might be doing some page or some post in another site, not even Zenler. So it's like our editor that we've got here. I mean, we don't need to have it tied to all of your menu system. You know, if I want to, I can come in here and I can delete this out. This will be a standalone form now,
Okay,
not
didn't know
being
that.
connected to the site, almost like a marketing funnel,
Yeah,
you know?
that's really good.
So you have that, but you can also drop it back in again if you want to. So this, I think, is a really good way of it working. So I just want to set up a thank you page because I just need to take you through every step of this so it's really clear. So if I go into this now, what I'm going to do is take that page, and you can edit this however you like. And I'm just going to do a
Sure.
clone of this page, and you'll want to style this yourself. So I'm going to edit this page, and I'm going to go in and call it thank you. Okay. I'm going to copy that into there, click update. Now I'm going to go and edit this, and I've used that form page as a template just to set up a thank you page, and then I'm going to go back into the submit button of the form, and the post submit action I'm going to send to this
Yeah.
page. So once that loads, that's the URL I'm going to need for the thank you page. You probably want to take just that part. So let's get rid of the form. Let's save that. SEO it. Okay. You'd make this look amazing, you know. So
But
now
it's amazing how cloning a page just cuts down so much work.
it does, yeah, and also like because you're on the free plan here, but as soon as you upgrade to the pro, you can save blocks out. So you'll have the ability to save blocks out. At the moment,
Yeah,
you can't with this. So you've
sure.
got. I'm going to show you how to do it, just in case you don't want to sign up for the pro immediately. I'll show you how to do it using this. So let me go and take this, and now we're going to add this as a post submit action. So I'm going to go into here, and where it says post submit action, I'm going to put a link in there, and I grabbed that link from here.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to grab that part after the domain name /thank you. You can grab the whole thing if you want to, but you're probably going to upgrade this and change this to a custom domain, in which case it wouldn't work with the whole domain. So I'm taking this end part, it's called a relative domain, and I'm just going to put that in there and click save.
Okay.
So that's set up.
Sorry, so when you said about changing that domain, I don't actually know how to do that as a feature.
Oh, we've got videos on that. So if
okay, brilliant.
If you've got your own domain, you know, it's fine, Francesca. You can contact me directly when you're at that stage.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, and I'll help you with that. So now we have add me email list. What I'm going to do both now. So I'm going to still keep it as the add email, make it happen, and then I'm going to put down here. Let's just put May in there, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So I remember to put May and then hit the enter key. Otherwise, it doesn't go in there. So you just got to make sure that there's just that tag in there. So now what's going to happen is they're going to fill the form out. They're going to go into the email list, make it happen. They're also going to be tagged with May, and they're going to also have a post submit action. So the page is going to redirect to the thank you page that we just created.
Sure.
So you see how you can build these things up?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. No, this sounds really good.
So I'm going to go and do this now. So once again, incognito, and we'll come into here. And for this, I'm going to put David at Zenler. Let's put +1 in there. And David, let's put Zenler here. Okay, so now I'm going to hit this, and bang, thank you for signing up. So it's directed it. So it's a much more professional way of doing it by doing the second page.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I love that.
Right, so now let's have a look at our email list. So if I go back to email broadcasts and we go to our email list, we now got 2 members in there. So if I click inside here, you can see that I have this in here. Now we're also tagged. So if I go to all leads, let's just go to sites and leads, you're going to see in here that we're tagged there.
Yeah.
So not only are we added to email list, but we tag someone coming in as well.
Sure.
So at the moment, that's a kind of one-way system. That's how it works. So what about if you've got a form but you want automations to take over? So as soon as someone fills that form, they get directed to a thank you page, but then they also get maybe a series of emails, or they get a welcome email to their email list. And you can do that. You can do that using marketing funnels. So you have a marketing funnel already set up, but I'm going to now go and create what I call a trigger funnel. And a trigger funnel doesn't use any of the steps in it. It's purely used for the automation part of the funnel. So, and Francesca, make sure that you tell me if you're not understanding this. I think it'll make
so I think my curiosity was, is that because are we not using a standard funnel because it's not from a sales page, it's just a sign up, and is that why?
No, we're not using a standard funnel because we don't want to take people through the funnel process of going to a page. So it's a really simple way of making your forms automated.
Okay, great.
So we're only using the email part of the funnel. We don't need to design all the funnel steps.
Yeah, okay. Yeah? And what term did you use to call that?
Well, this is my own made-up term.
Oh, is it?
I call it a trigger funnel.
Okay.
All it is a funnel that's going to be triggered by a form, and the only reason that you're using it is to use the automation. So I guess in a way it should be a trigger automation email funnel. That's a bit long-winded.
Very wordy. Sure, yeah, okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it'll be clear when I show you. So automations work the same way in Zenler, whether you're doing lives, courses, everything where you can do automations, it works in a similar way. There might be a few extra options, but the actual process is exactly the same. So if I create this funnel, I don't care which of these funnels I use, but I generally, for this kind of funnel where I'm not using any of the funnel steps, I just use a lead magnet. It's the simplest type of funnel. So if I click next, it's going to ask me for a name, and I'm going to call this trigger. You can change this later if you want to, Francesca. So all of this you can change yourself. I'm not going to put any free downloads in there. I'm not going to say there's a course that launches at the end of it or any of that stuff. I'm just going to click next. It's going to ask me for a template. I don't care which template I use. It really doesn't matter because I'm not using any of the steps in the template. I'm using the automations. So I can select whichever one I like and I can click finish. So this is what it's going to set up. This is a traditional funnel. There's an opt-in with a form, and then there's a thank you page, and that's as simple as it is. But I don't need any of these, so you don't have to delete these out. I'm just deleting them out just to show you. So I've got no steps in that funnel, but what I have got is automations. So now with this funnel, I have automations that I can send out. So this one, for instance, in here, there's this rule is on subscribe. So when they subscribe or when they fill a form out, then a series of emails fires off. So this one here is after registration via form, 0 days from subscription, then this will fire out to them. So I can put in here first email, and then I can put whatever I like into here. Let's take all of this, delete it all out, and put dear, and this is where I can use personalization. This pulls in from the form, so you make sure if you haven't chosen like first name in the form, if you haven't got a name in there, then don't use it, but because it will pull in from the form. So I put first name, welcome to this automated email. Okay, spelt wrong. Get it. Okay, that's all I need to do. So I also want to put a subject in here. So I've put first email. I could actually put in here a personalization. You've got some personalization things in here. So you might want to put dear and then choose the first name, and then this is the first email, or don't use personalization at all. First email that is automated, and that's all I'm going to have. So you can say where it's come from and where it's going out to as well. Let's put my name in there. I'll probably, because I'm logged in as admin. If you logged in, then your name would come up in there.
Yeah.
So, which is best. So it's 0 days from subscription. So you could also go on a specific date, but I prefer to do it from subscription. That way you're not, like if you were doing a form and you were sort of doing it a week before an event, then you might do on the event, so you tell them. But I prefer like it from with this kind of form, it's more like you're just contacting them. So you're writing, welcome, thank you for signing up to my form, I will be in touch shortly with when the course is launched. You know, you might want to put something like that. So that's all we're trying to do, is just send an automated email. So that's done. I'm going to click save, and it's going to go, action is paused. I don't want it paused, I want to turn it on. So as soon, and it says apply to all leads, but I'm going to, so if you have people in that funnel already and you click yes, it will send it to them all. Yeah. So I haven't got anyone in the funnel, so it doesn't matter. But if you don't want to send it to them all, you just click no. So that's fine. So I've got things here. We give you like three of them already set up as bases, but I don't need these, so I'm going to delete them out. I can put more in here if I want to. I can even clone this. So this is what I do generally. It speeds. It's like cloning a course or cloning a page. If I've set my first email up and it's got the flow of it, then I probably just want to delete those other ones out and just click clone, and then I can just clone this, and then I can set another one up saying second day of your subscription or something. So you can set as many as you like up in here. You can also, if you add an action, you might want to, and this is where it's just limitless what you can do, Francesca, because you could say tag them. You could give them another tag. So
Okay.
you could tag them coming in, and might say received email. I can also remove a tag. So if I had them coming in and I had the first tag on the form saying new user, then I could set up an automation that as soon as that fires on maybe day 3, I could
Yeah.
say remove new user and call add a new tag. So use remove tag, add a new tag, and call it old user.
Okay. Wow. So you can do quite a lot from that one feature.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you don't really, in essence, you don't need to use the tag feature on the form that we looked at
Okay.
earlier, which was there,
Yeah.
because we could do it all by the automations. So we don't need to use it in there if we don't want to, because we could do it all via the automations. But another
And then,
great feature about this is the fact
sorry, can
we,
I ask though? So
yeah,
would that new tag then show up in the leads list?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it would. And also, not only that, is if you removed the tag, it would remove it. So you could have day 1 add a tag, new user. Then you might set another automated email to go out to them, and then you might remove the tag new user. So you could do it by however you want. But the other great thing about this is, and you get asked this a lot, we get asked this a lot on the Facebook group, is how, when someone fills a form out, how can I know that someone's filled a form out? So inside of here, we also have another action called at notify admin. So notify admin will tell you, it will just be sent to you, nobody else. So it
Yeah.
notifies you as admin that someone's come in here. So it's filled your name out already, and you can go in here, a new user signed up, and then you can personalize it. So you can say who that user is, first name, and you
Oh,
can
that's
go in
brilliant.
here. Email is, this is for you, no one else sees this, and you can put
Yeah.
in there personalization there, and you could go email. So you would receive that.
Yeah.
So someone fills the form out, they get this automated email, and then you receive this one with their details.
Sure. I think that's a really great feature, particularly because, like a lot of coaches, we also are also speakers, and so if we're doing an event or we're having people come to our table and they say, "Yeah, I'm going to sign up," you can very quickly see did they actually do that, and kind of just support that way as well if they're having struggles with that. So yeah, I love that feature.
Yeah, and also it's really good because it's on the go. So it's
Yeah.
like if you're out and about, you haven't got time, haven't got your desktop or your laptop with you, you've just got notifications coming into your mobile phone. You can say, oh, right, I've got 20 new people coming into that thing. You can see it on your
Yeah.
mobile. So rather than get your laptop out, go to your admin of your site and then check the leads that are coming in, which is another
Yeah.
way that you would normally do it. You can actually get a notified email that fires out to you. So I really love that notify, and you'll find that in most of the places where you can do automations. Well, all the places. So you can do the same thing in courses, and you can do the same thing in lives as well. So you can see how
Yeah.
many, especially important for lives, because if you're running a live, you can see exactly, you're notified, and you can say, oh, I've got 20 people on that live that I'm going to be running this afternoon. So it can
Yeah.
be really good. Of course, you can check in the system as well, but we just added that because we know it's going to be useful for you. So that's how you can add. I'm going to leave that in there. I won't make it live, but that's what I'm
Yeah.
going to add in there. So now we set up this, what I call trigger funnel. Remember, we've got no funnel steps in here. We're only using one email in the automation, and we've called the name of this funnel trigger funnel. So I can now tie this up to the button. So at the moment, we had one funnel in there, which was your one.
Yeah.
But when I refresh this screen, which I'm going to refresh now, just going to reload this, I will now have access to that new funnel I set up, which is called trigger funnel. So let's test this out. And that, by the way, that's the way this works as well. This form that I have in here that sets off a
Yeah.
trigger funnel. I always use this. So here it is here. So I'm going to click the gear icon, come over to settings, and now when I click add to funnel, I've got this trigger funnel, and I click save, And here we go. So I can test this out. So I'm going to use my Zenler account to do this, and I can show you the actual email coming in. I'm going to have to pause it because I have emails. I have sensitive emails in there.
Sure.
Let me go here. Copy. Okay. So incognito mode again. I'm going to see how this automation works. So hit in here. I'm going to put. I'm putting it bold so it's going to be easy for me to see. Let's put that in there, and I'm going to use David Zenler. Okay, so click to that. Okay, so I've signed up, and if we go into the site now, we're going to be in the email list, and we're going to be as a lead. So if I go in there now, oh, it's not going to add me because I'm admin.
Yeah.
I'm admin already in there, so I can, but I can still check it. If I go to site admin, you can see I'm here. Look, it's tagged me still.
Yeah.
It's even changed my name from there.
Sure.
Because of that form. It's overwritten. So if I go into email broadcast and I go across to email list, we now have 3 members in there, and one of them will be me here. But the other thing that will happen is when I check my emails, I will have received an email to my David at Zenler. So I've received it here, and I'm going to just share it now. There you go. So that email has flown out to me from the system.
Yeah.
So I've automated a form.
That's really good. I really like that feature. I really didn't know that it could do that.
And of course, you know, you could set up, I mean, there was a question coming from a guy, and he had a form, and he wanted to basically get people in using a form, and then he wanted to take them on the 5-day email challenge. So he wanted a way to be able to use a form to actually start the process. So that's how this whole thing started. I was like, well, we could use funnels for that. We can just add funnels, because on the submit button, we can add tags, we can add them to email list, and we can add them to a funnel. So if we add them to a funnel, turn off all the steps and just use the automation, you can then set that as a 5-day email challenge. So day 1 email goes out 0 days from subscription, and then day 2 goes 1 day later, and so on.
Sure.
And then you can run a whole sequence of emails. Now, the beauty of this, Francesca, is that you want to automate the way that you're doing business, and this is how you can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You could have an evergreen series of videos going out, and you don't need to touch them. You can go on holiday, and it's gonna work.
Yeah. You know, that's excellent. And I think so when I've seen other people do their course and they say it starts in like, like 3 minutes or whatever, it's because they're literally having them as soon as they sign up, then they're into that sort of system, aren't they, with automated
They are.
course.
Yeah, they are. They're into that. I'll show you my site here, because I've got, it is, because it is a pro account, so I can actually show you the automations inside live. It's such an important part of Zenler, I think, and it's something that can confuse people, but I think once you start doing one of them and you understand how the process of automations work, then it's easy. So if we go into, if I set up a live interactive webinar, and I've got one there, but let's create a new one in here. Let's call it test.
Sorry, so when you say live interactive webinar,
Yep.
live to who? Live to the audience versus you actually delivering it live.
No, this is delivering it live. This is like what we.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So we got what's called live interactive webinar. So people's heads appear, and you can interact with them. It's just like a Zoom session, but it's not a true webinar experience, because a true webinar experience is where it's just your head. You might have multiple participants, but you can't see them on screen. Now, we are going to be releasing a webinar only, which is coming up at some point. Not going to say when, but that will give you a true. So we'll actually have 4 different types. We'll have a live class, We'll have live interactive webinar, we'll have webinar, and we will have live streaming to YouTube and Facebook. So we're going to have 4 parts. This is our big plan to help
Yeah.
course creators to not only run sessions, but also run summits and things like that. So
Yeah. So
that,
is the live into Facebook already active? Is that
yeah,
already a feature for the pro
yeah.
accounts?
Yeah, I mean, normally for live builds, I stream. We only use Zenler stuff here. So everything that
Okay.
you see in it, on our office hours that we run earlier today, that's all live streamed from Zenler platform. We only use our own software.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing there is a live stream straight into Facebook, but you can live stream straight into YouTube as well.
How interesting.
Yeah,
And I think earlier on when you were saying that, almost making it this full package, meaning you haven't got to subscribe to the other places. It makes more sense now because a lot of us, yeah, we have these Zoom accounts that we pay for, and we do this and that, and so yeah, that's really good. Yeah,
yeah, and it's so, if you think about it, it's so time consuming learning all these different apps.
really
Whereas,
is.
we were thinking not only do we want to take away that you don't have to pay for anything other than Zenler, but we also want it to be a really quick way of you getting into course creation, because if you learn how to do automations in one area, it's exactly the same in every other part of the site. Like if you learn how to use the page builder for creating your site, which you've done, it's
Yeah,
exactly the same thing when you start building your funnels. It's the same thing when you start building your course sales pages using the same page builder. So you're not
yeah,
learning anything extra. Whereas if you're going in and using something like Zoom on its own, if you're going in and doing something using something like ClickFunnels or Active Campaign, you've got a whole lot of learning to do, you know, and it's a lot to use these
mm,
systems. There's a lot of learning involved. So we were like, well, can we simplify the whole thing down and package it all into one platform? And that is what we're doing. We're still adding things to it, making it better and better, but that's our ethos, to make your life
sure.
easier, everything in the same place. And that's how we've done it.
So no, it's really good. It's just yeah. Like I said, I downgraded just because I wasn't really making enough sales and I wasn't using it to its fullest. But yeah, I might have to jump back on and get a paid subscription because then obviously I can have more than one site, can't I? If I have that.
Yeah, if you've got pro, you've got up to 3 sites, so you can
Yeah.
bring them all across. Plus, now we've got blogging. You got that blogging. The fact is that with the site, you're not limited by much. It's kind of like with your pages, you can have your pages for your site, create your site in there. If you want to create landing pages, you could create a landing page, just like we did for here. You don't need to have a header and a footer. You can create unlimited landing pages for SEO. We've also got blogs. So you've also got the ability to create your own blog articles in there, which are really important for people like to get the message out there. And of course, you can tie them all into marketing funnels, and you can run the automations that run throughout the system. So
Sure.
all of these things together just come together to create something really powerful. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of course creators that are not using a lot of the features inside Zenlab just because they
Yeah.
don't need to. They're
Sure.
making enough money just having their site up there, and they might already have big lists of people. They might already have a big following on a social media platform, and all they're doing is pointing them to the latest course they brought out. And
Yeah.
inside that course, all they've got is maybe a video and then a short description or maybe a couple of downloads. And they're not using lives, they're not using any of the automations, and that is what I've started to use more of the advanced features, but that's what I've been doing from the
Yeah.
start. Real minimum problems for me. I sell my courses as standalone courses, and I can go off on holiday and my courses are still selling. And that,
Sure. Sure. And
you know,
yeah, and that's where we all want to be, isn't it? So that literally our businesses run without us doing anything. So
yeah.
yeah.
And but that's the great thing with automations. You can make it seem like you're always available. You know.
Yeah. Yeah,
You can
absolutely,
give
absolutely.
this. I've sent some emails out before through automations, and I've had a few people come back saying, "Oh, you're writing. How do you get this? Because you're writing to me personally." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not writing to you personally. I'm writing to
Yeah.
4,000 people."
Hmm.
But it's the way you can word it. You can make it sound that you're there and you're around, and you should be
Yeah.
there around for your students. But it does mean that you can go off and sell these things. So yeah, so automations for live. So if I've got the live set up here, and I just go through the process of clicking next. Of course, you'd fill all this stuff out, choose your base template, and then once that's done, that will create the pages for the live. And then once again, I've got this
Sure.
option of automation, so I can go in there, and this is what you were saying. We've got this 1 hour before email reminder.
Okay, sorry. So maybe I'm a little bit lost. So when so for the live feature, is this for that sort of live webinar, but it's pre-recorded,
No,
or
live.
versus?
Right. Okay. Live. This is how we expect live to work. Live is that
Mhm.
you're live on camera, like we are now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So you're live. Especially like you're doing one-to-one coaching sessions or group coaching sessions, you're going to be
Yeah.
live. There is the
Yes.
ability you could pre-record it. You could pre-record something, and then you could set up but then because you're pre-recording it, you're not live.
No. Well, yeah, and also then obviously there's no interaction. So if I'm correct, so a live would be, for example, let's say I'm going to be delivering on Thursday evening at 8 o'clock, but I can still put people into, what do you call it, a funnel, that system where they get the information, that, like you said, it's going live in an hour and all of that.
Yeah, but in that case, if you're running a live, you don't need to use like a trigger funnel or any of that stuff because
Yeah.
our lives have already got automation built into them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's already into the system. We just set this live up. So this is the live that I just set up. And notice we've got automation. So if you look at the pages that it creates when you create a live, you get a register page already. So if we view that
Yeah.
register page, this is where someone would register. They click here, register. As soon as they register for the live, the automations then take over.
Oh, I see. So in a nutshell, does it then send them an email with the right link for them to click into to see the live?
Yeah, and we've given that to you by default. We've set all that up for you by default. You can see this is the first email they receive when they register. So it says,
Yeah.
"Hi, whatever their name is, successfully booked a spot," and you can edit all this, by the way.
Sure.
You've is booked a spot on the live webinar by, and then it would say your name because it's whoever you are, and then it would say the topic, so whatever you've called that particular webinar, in this
Yeah.
case test 2, and then it would say when, and it would give the time, whatever time you set for the webinar, which is here,
Yeah.
and that would automatically be filled in. It automatically fills that in. I do suggest you try this out and test it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you also have the join link. So the join link just sends you to the waiting page where you have a countdown timer. So the actual page, because they've already registered, they go to a thank you page. So the whole process is like this. They go into this page, they register, they are then taken to the next page, which is thank you page, and you can change all of this. You can
Yeah.
customize all of this. They then click go. They sent an email now half an hour before, quarter of an hour before, 5 minutes before. It's up to you using automations. That'll have the link in it, and if they go here, they will then go to the last page, which is the waiting page, which is here, and it can't be found at the moment because it's not released yet.
Sure.
And if you want to, you can then even put a replay. So you could send an automated email after the event saying, if you didn't catch this, go to our replay page. And that is a page where you would have uploaded the video that you recorded when you did this live,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is this. We just give you a placeholder in here for now, but you'd put your video in there and you can put an offer. So after they've watched it, you could then send them to the course and say, you watched it, take this special offer, we give you 10% off or something. You could send
Yeah.
them straight to the course. So really powerful
Really good. That
marketing.
is really good.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Lives is the most successful way of converting people into genuine sales. No question of that, because you're
Yeah.
there at hand and people are coming in asking you questions. You're showing and proving your authority. Plus, people are going to like you, you know? Hopefully,
Yeah.
people like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, or at least those who, there is that shared values are gonna actually understand you, and then they're gonna want to work with you if they're the right people. Interestingly, it reminds me of, because I know in my first year of business, all of my clients came to me after they'd heard me speak at a speaking event. Like, literally it was because, oh, I heard you speak here, I heard you speak, and that's how I built up majority of my clients. Then of course lockdown happened and everything was very different. So I feel like this is such a great way to, like you said, be able to be there and really showcase who you are and who I am and what I can do to build my audience again. So I'm so excited about the possibilities.
Yeah, it's really good. I think for you, it's really good. I've actually seen some of your videos and things. You come across really well, and I think that is brilliant because you'll connect with people, and you'll connect with people, and they will buy into you, and that's a lot of what happens is people actually buy into other people. So if they like you and they're like, oh, it's great, you know, and they really get a connection with you on camera, if you're good on camera, like you obviously are, then it just comes across, and those conversions are huge with lives, like live events. If you're doing a live event or
Yeah,
something, you'll get people asking you for your business card and everything else. So,
sure.
and especially now, like you said, with COVID and things, like everyone's locked in their little bubbles, aren't they?
We really are, yeah. And interestingly, I found that a lot of people who had gone back out to do in-person events or networking have now gone back to online in some capacity. So I do think, we're just getting very used to online, and it's obviously here to stay. So yeah,
Yeah.
really, really interesting.
Yeah, and couldn't be a better time for us to
Yeah.
be launching all these extra live features, you know. It's almost like we planned it kind of thing, but I think they did. I think I don't want to say they didn't because they probably did.
It's all part of the big plan.
Yeah, yeah, big plan. So that is how it works. That's how we can
Yeah.
set up set up a form on your site. You know, and the last thing I want to do is show you just how, because you're not on the pro or premium plan, so you can't save blocks out. Saving blocks is so handy.
Sure.
It's really handy. It's like I'll just show you a page that I've got on my site, and I'll show you the way that you can do it with yours, so you can see about the saving of blocks. Right, so here for instance I've got this page here. This is an about us page, and I just saved off one of the blocks, which was a form block, and then I just, for each of the pages, I just changed the background color just to make it look a bit fresher, and it fitted
Yeah.
with each of my pages. So inside here, if you've got the pro version, you can save these blocks so you can reuse stuff. So inside here I've got this form, so if I click here and I just click this save block, I can then save this as a custom block. So I can call this something like generic form, and then I can click save, and now that will be added to my form block. So if I'm in another page, I can come into blocks, go down the bottom to custom blocks, and you're going to see that I have all my custom blocks, and this is the
Oh
one I just
wow.
saved. So I can click this, I can drag it across and drag it into the page, and it's ready to go. So with that, I
Yeah.
changed the color. I've got branding turned on, so the color's defaulted back, but I can go in here and just change this color to something like an orange, you know, and it's that quick. So I can
Yeah.
click in here, save this block out. I can reuse other blocks. Like I got some Christmas blocks, you know, if it's Christmas time, I can shove that Christmas block in there, maybe change the background image to make it different from last year, and it's done. It's ready to go. That block,
Yeah.
yeah, is a bit messed up, but that's how I can do it. I can just shove those
Sure.
blocks straight in there. So I think custom blocks is really powerful, but you can still do this. It's a little bit more long-winded, but you can still do it from your site. So
Yeah.
if I wanted to save this form out to use on a different page, all I need to do is, let's change this to something like that. Okay, and change this to more of a white, just to make it a little bit better. All right, so to save this block, I can't use this because I'm using the free plan. But over on
Yeah.
this side, we have a little HTML marker.
Sure.
So inside there, if you click that, it's going to bring the code up. Now that will make no sense to you, but if you press Control A on the keyboard, you can copy it. Press Control C. Okay. Now I've copied that code. So to put that into another page is really easy. So if I want to put that into another page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this out just to show you. Let's delete. All I need to do to put this into another page is go to block, empty block, drag an empty block in, and then go over to the source code. Probably guess what I'm going to do here. I'm going to select all, Control A, delete it, backspace, and then I'm going to paste the code in, Control V. So now I'm going to click save, and instantly I've got my block back.
Sure. That's really good.
So that's for free users. So free users can still copy block code across, which helps you.
Yeah, particularly if it's taken you a while to really learn it, and then you create something great just to be able to move that over.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I like to do like a template page. You know, I was saying to you earlier, I created that blank page, which is this, which is on your site is under site pages, and here this template page here, it means I can play around. So obviously I've finished playing around with it. I'm going to unpublish it because I don't want search engines to pick up on it or anything, so I can just unpublish them there, and I've turned it off. And next time I want to play around creating a new template, I'll go in there, add a new template, and if I want to use it in another page like my home page, I can just copy the code, go to the home page, drop an empty block in there, and just place that code in there. So you can always use this video for reference if you want as well, Francesca.
No, definitely. Yeah, this will be like my my personal manual for to get things moving. So no, that's really, really helpful.
Brilliant. All right. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, you happy with that? You happy being a winner?
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm delighted. I just literally feel like this is actually just perfect timing, because I was meant to launch a program in the end of this month, but I didn't because I wanted a way to automate it. And again, now I know more about how Zenler can work for it. Yeah, we'll be launching in March.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, thank you so much. I'm really grateful.
That's lovely. Brilliant. Well, it's great to work on your stuff. That's actually quite an easy one to do, really. But automations, I feel, can confuse a lot of people. And knowing, just working with it, just taking it slowly and working with it, and you'll understand it's actually really simple. It's just you're setting when that mail's going out. But sometimes linking a form and automations together and knowing what's happening is probably the hardest part. You know, and I think that's why a lot of people have trouble.
Sure. No, it makes sense. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do that without knowing and without your support, because it wouldn't have made sense. So thank you for also just explaining it in a way that is really user friendly, because sometimes the technical terms can be a little bit overwhelming if you're not super techie. So it's been really enjoyable.
Plain English is the way forwards. But brilliant. Thank you, Francesca.
Brilliant.
So that's
thank
another
you so
live
much,
build. And thank you, Francesca, for that. So a live build, and that was our winner. So yeah, check out her site. I've put it in the description below, and see how she does, see how she changes it. So like, if she's not making any changes on it, maybe you can just send her a message nudging her. But that's great.